And a very good morning, and here she is, the lady herself,
Good morning.
Liza Page.
Good morning, everyone. Oh, it's so nice to be here. I really haven't got anything terribly heavy to talk about today, so I think that might delight you. Um, but what have we got here? Oh, Hezbollah hasn't invaded North Israel, but it is throwing bombs at North Israel. You know, these rocket things they send over. So that's being a bit naughty, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
It's stoking the fire, isn't it? And that's what we don't want.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. And it's such a dangerous thing to do, I would bar. But the other chap, he's got no intention of ending this war. And
No, the trouble is there are too many splinter interests in the Middle East. When one tries to stop, some other comes in and lobs a few grenades, and away it goes again.
Yes, it's like they all want to get in on the act,
Yeah,
according to what sort of mood they're in.
You're absolutely right.
Yeah,
Absolutely right.
It's like, I don't like you today, so I think
Yeah.
I'll throw a few bombs your way.
Yeah, well, it's all going to be quiet. Let's stoke it up again.
That's it. Yes. And quite frankly, I think it's going to remain the same like this until after the elections. Would you agree?
Yeah, I don't know that they're necessarily using the UK election as a timeline. I think that it's all the interests in the Middle East themselves.
Yes, and trying to see if Trump's going to go in or not. Not that it means a damn one way or another. They're all tarred with the same brush, aren't they?
Yeah.
It just has this incredible following, and there'll be ructions if he doesn't get in. Anyway, hope and pray he comes in and does a bit of good. That would be wonderful if that happened, Well, we can't always be doom and gloom, can we? We've got to be a little bit optimistic now and again. Otherwise, it's no good. It's all terrible. It's all awful. Well, I spoke a great deal last week about Princess Catherine, and it seems, I think, there's been such nonsense written about her and such pushback, from all over the world, the people that love her, especially in America and here. She's greatly loved and should be. She's a lovely looking woman and did the job beautifully for the royal family. But the fact there's all been this nonsense, I think that the king said, right, now I'm going to take charge. He was forced to. And he said, now you get out of bed and be on that balcony, no matter what state you're in. I think he demanded it rather than ask. Because all this, well, I'll come when I'm in the mood, and I don't look so good today, so dragging it out sort of thing. And anyway, she arrived. I think it was her, but what do I know? All I know is I know nothing. Anyway, she's lost weight. I got one shot of her, and she's very, very slim. And to lose weight when you're slim like that is not a good idea. It's dangerous. I speak from experience. And she did look like she'd lost weight, and she looked like she'd had a facelift.
Oh, really?
Oh, yes.
Well, only a woman would notice that.
Yes. The face looked absolutely lovely. At first, I don't know, that's not her. But yes, and so she has had some sort of operation. That I promise you. So didn't seem like they were too friendly, him princess and the prince, they didn't show too much affection towards one another, and that was noted. And she was wearing this hat, which shielded his view totally. Whether that was done deliberately, I think all these things are done deliberately. Quite frankly, they meticulously researched out. And then, of course, the king, he couldn't ride a horse if he's had prostrate trouble, could he?
No, he
he'd
didn't,
be
did
in
he?
a lot of
Yeah,
trouble,
yeah.
wouldn't he? So he sat up there with that rather frosty-faced partner of his, who no one seemed to be very interested in. And then the lovely Catherine arrives with the beautiful little children, like a breath of spring. And we're all left to wonder if after that appearance, that I'm very sure was demanded of her, to show people, yes, I am still alive, and but I'm not out of the wood yet. She said, I have more chemotherapy to get on with, and all this business. So they're going to keep this going way into 2025. It's necessary. I did hear some rather distressing news, though, about that. I don't know if I should say it or not. It's such a bring down. You see, they are bringing in these vaccinations for cancer. And they say that either the king or the princess has to die before they can bring these
Well,
in.
who's saying that?
Scuttlebutt. Yeah.
See, I think that all being a journalist and very cynical, I totally go along with you that all is often not as it would appear. However, extreme conspiracy demands a hell of a lot of organization, and anything can go wrong. So I think that sort of substitutions of people has to be planned well in advance for it to work.
See,
I'm not saying it doesn't happen, and it can't happen, particularly with being able to do avatars and so on. But it is very, very, very tough.
Yeah, because if they are both on chemotherapy, which is terribly poisonous and it is designed to kill rather than get you better. If they're both on it, we don't know for sure. I thought the king had rather a lot of makeup on. He was sort of well doctored up, as they say, but he looked okay. But if they are both on this chemotherapy, and she didn't look to me like she was on it at all, then their chances of leaving this planet are very, very strong, I tell you, because you don't mess around with chemotherapy. You really don't. I mean, it's petrifying.
Yeah.
I have something here to read. It is very, very, very interesting. Yeah. Well, can't really find it here now because I was rushed, you see. But in 1949, a man called Dr. Richard Day, this is very, very interesting, stood up. He was a gynecologist, well in with the occult, very, very well in with the people that are leading us today. And he said, please turn off your microphones. Well, some did, some didn't, naturally. It was a seminar in Pennsylvania. And he proceeded to say that, the figures are fantastic. Some 8 million people die every year from cancer worldwide. More than 500,000 in the United States alone. The global number is predicted to rise to 12 million by 2030. Cancer is the biggest cause of death for people under 85, and in the US, 1 in 4 people die from cancer. 1 in 4. We have our freedoms to remove by the day to protect the public from terrorism, when all these people are suffering and dying every year from a disease that the bloodline families and their pharmaceutical cartel systematically refuse to cure. Dr. Richard Day from the Rockefeller-controlled eugenics organization, Planned Parenthood, told these doctors in 1969, "We can now cure almost every cancer right now. Information is on file in the Rockefeller Institute. If it's ever decided that it should be released." They said that letting people die of cancer would slow down population growth. You may as well die of cancer or something else. He also said, all those years ago, that the plan was to control and cull the population through medicine, food, new laboratory-made diseases, and the suppression of a cure for cancer. These people have no soul, and that's why they do what they do. Big Pharma has no desire to cure cancer when it is making unthinkable fortunes from treating the symptoms with devastating drugs and cell-killing poisons like chemotherapy. It is not primarily even about money. The bloodline families want people to suffer and die earlier than necessary as a way of culling the population. This goes on, but we haven't got all day, have we?
No, but what you're relating there is very interesting.
Yes, and this is in David Icke's books, a man who's been researching all this stuff for 35 years and has been proven by his work never to be wrong. Everything we experience today, he said 35 years ago in his books.
Yes, I actually, in conversation overnight, you actually listed some of these things. Might be useful to list half a dozen of the things that David Icke forecast 35 years ago that have over that 35 years come true.
Yes, and as I have been studying David Icke for over 30 years, I'm well versed with what he said in his books, and this is the reason that he has been banned from 28 countries, because he relates the truth. People know it, and they don't want him around. The crack shows in America, talk shows, won't have him on. There was only one fellow who was brave enough, and it was an excellent soul called Patrick Davis, and he had him on. It's an excellent show. He said, I was advised not to have you on, but I taken the chance, and it was an excellent show because, David knows his stuff. But he now has an alternative channel called the Alternative Channel that he runs with his two sons, Gareth and Jamie, and they produce excellent work. They have all the band speakers on that are not allowed on mainstream television. They interview them, and you have an opportunity to see these very brave people that have come out. I mean, there's so many people out there in America and South America and elsewhere, I'm sure, who do have the cure for cancer, but as soon as they raise their head, they are immediately either put in prison or run out of business and not allowed to even speak. So we're in a bit of a state, aren't we?
Yes, indeed.
You know, especially with the world zooming in with this new world order, which, you know, involves culling many people, as many as they can possibly do it. No, it was just the elderly, but now it's anybody, you know. And since this last pandemic, the influx of cancer in young children and other people has absolutely tripled. I've lost several friends and who had the whatever it is, and they died very quickly. Cancer of the pancreas, which is rife now, and it's absolutely
Yeah, well, that's what you've had,
galloping.
isn't it?
Yes, I didn't have cancer. I have what they call chronic pancreatitis, and I've lived with this for going on 20 years now. Every now and again, it doesn't treat me very nicely, and I have to go to the hospital because when the pancreas erupts, it attacks all the organs in your body. It doesn't pick and choose. And it tends to put you in a state of septicemia very quickly. So you have to get to the hospital for them to handle that, which they do with me. The last time the attack was this year, 6 months ago, and I was in there for 2 weeks, which is unusual. But you see, I'm much older now, so when you get older, you don't bounce back as quickly as you used to. So it's been rather an arduous task for me, and some days I don't feel very well at all. But I don't know anybody that I know or people I talk to in the street that feels very well every day at all.
Yeah.
I mean, with what we're putting up with the 5G and radiation and all that business in our skies, it's, you know, simple souls like myself and other people, we can't even comprehend the damage that it is doing to the human race. Apart from the food that we have to eat to survive. You've got to eat something, haven't you? But unless you really hunt around for proper food, if it's packaged, it's no good. It's no good. It's been interfered with. So you've got to eat as many fresh vegetables, fresh fruit, organic, and your meat, because that's injected a lot, and the chicken and all that. So you've got to be very careful what you eat and really treat it like a science. And I'm afraid that things are going to get worse before they get better. So we've really got to be on our toes just to survive. Forget surviving with dignity or this and that and the whole thing, because they're not going to allow that, you know. And this next pandemic is going to happen. That I promise you. It's been told by people high up. Oh, yes, it's definitely coming. Bird flu. Oh, yes. And Mr. Gates has told us that it is coming too, Mr. Bill Gates. Yes, so it will be, and we'll close down much quicker this time. We were a bit slow before. And because, you know, we've got to inject the world. And this is what they want. They want to inject the world. They want to get inside the body so that they can get the microchip into us. Right now it's in the wrist. Oh, look, I can open doors with this. This is great fun. It's making me superior. No, it isn't. It's killing you. So we really, really and truly have to read. Please read the David Icke's books. Please, please. I'm on my knees begging you, please, because he's all we've got. I promise you, this man is all we've got. And as I say, 30 years of reading his stuff, all his books, a lot of them twice. I do know what I'm talking about, and I'm trying before I die. I don't think I'm going to die soon. I don't at all. But I'm 84, coming up to 85, and we can't expect to live indefinitely. But these people say, "Oh, if we can attach you to the clouds, you can live indefinitely." Well, get on with it, mate. Sorry. And who the hell wants to anyway if they're going to be in control? But there are people that believe all this rubbish. And it's, you see, this cult that is ruling. They want to make us as frightened and as terrified as they possibly can, and make us as miserable as they possibly can. You know, well, if your relatives are dying around you of the last business that they put us through, that doesn't make you very happy when you see that. And especially when you know that there is a cure for pretty much all disease out there today, but they're not going to let it on the market because there is no money in good health. No money whatsoever.
No, but with all due respect, quite often preparing these things for mass consumption costs a small fortune as well. I mean, there is that balanced argument, isn't there?
Well, yes, it costs an absolute fortune to keep people alive because they've got these diseases that they've made. Mm-hmm. And that's why they want to do away with the elderly, because they say we're useless eaters, we've lived too long. So it's cost a fortune to keep us alive with the medication. That's why it's so difficult to get doctor's appointments and the attention that the elderly need. We need their expertise as we get older for certain things. So they say, no, we're costing the state too much money. So it's we're in a bit of a state, you and I, aren't we?
Yes, I mean, certainly I go along with the fact. I find it now very, very difficult to get any sort of help.
Yes.
Unless I actually fall down.
Yes, and then someone will come and pick you up.
That's right. And they are nice young people.
Fantastic, absolutely. And I tell you, these nice young people know what's going on. That's why they're kind to us, really. They know, and they're a hell of a lot more than they're saying, really. And oh yeah, God bless them, those ambulance people. God bless them. So we have to be informed, because without the information, they've got us right under their thumbs, especially when we get older. If we don't have any money to go privately to see these doctors, then we're totally dependent on the national health that, well, it's in a right old state, isn't it? Deliberately. So that's the situation that the elderly are in, and it's really not a pretty thing.
David Icke predicted this sort of scenario.
Listen, it's all in this book. It's all in this book that I quoted. This particular one, it's in pretty much most of his books since he started. This is called Human Race. Get off your knees. The lion sleeps no more. Oh, he was so right. That's it. And this says the lot. And all his other books too. So That's why they don't want him traveling and informing people. As soon as he sets up a seminar, they close him down, and he has to hunt around, for places to stand up and talk, making it as difficult as they possibly can for the man. I am quite frankly amazed that he is still alive, but to kill him would make him, what would it make him? Because he's been writing these books for a hell of a long time.
Well, I mean, the thing is that there is this famous phrase, a prophet is without honor in his own country. I mean, in other words, people who are prescient, who are able to forecast what's coming on, and never believed, particularly at home.
Yes.
They have a tendency to be abroad where people don't know them, where they're not a neighbor, than they are in their own homes.
Yes, yeah. But David's not afraid of anything. You won't find him with bodyguards or all that nonsense. No, he said, I will take my chances. This is it. A magnificent man. Can't praise him enough. It's just that it's unfortunate that a lot of people don't read, and it's not their fault. Some people are dyslexic, and I know a lot of that can be cured, but a lot of it can't.
Yeah, I mean, this business of not reading is. I agree with you that once again it's the fact, but I'm of the opinion that modern electronics has a lot to do with it. Mm-hmm. I don't know whether it was you that told me, but certainly somebody related just in the last couple of weeks or so that they were in a restaurant and that a couple next door came and sat down and they were together and they sat. They didn't say anything. They were on their phone, and it turned out that they were actually texting one another and communicating with one another across the table via these bloody phones.
Yes. Well, these kids do that all the time, and it's ridiculous. It's very rude. If you're out with somebody and they take these mobile phones out, just let me text this person, or they take a picture of the food they're eating and send it to somebody. It's ridiculous. But I don't want to get into that subject here for the simple reason I'm geriatric, darling. I'm not of this world anymore. For the life of me, I don't understand it. And this sexualization of children in the schools today, all brought in by the WEF, which is the most dangerous, hideous organization going, which is all affiliated with this new world order.
But actually, there is indication that governments are beginning to wise up to this.
Yes. And the last time they were there, they said, "Oh no, we've got it wrong, so we're modifying a lot of what we were saying." Doesn't mean a thing.
Why?
No, doesn't mean a thing for the simple reason they do exactly as they want anyway, and we signed up for them anyway.
But if there is a start. Is if there is a start. I can't agree with you there, Liza. I don't think. First of all, I'm a journalist. I don't believe in the status quo. I don't believe that things stay the same ever. They move. Sometimes for the worse, sometimes for the better, and so on. But they move. Yes. But if you actually get people who even if they make a small concession, then it's got to be some sort of slight victory.
Yes, but the victory that they put out was, wow, we've done it. Our pushback has done it, but it hasn't. That was a little red.
Well, you're saying that the claim. The reality doesn't match up to the claim.
No.
Oh, well, that's very typical of the world. Yes, that I would go along with.
Yeah.
But if is, as I understand it, even in the time that we've been doing this program, is that they haven't even acknowledged that that this is a problem.
No, they
Right.
haven't. No.
Now at least there is an acknowledgement.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the 15-minute cities that is all associated with the WEF, it's their plan. It's their plan. And I spoke to you for a whole year about this.
Yeah, I was fascinated
you
by
made
the 15.
me push it every week to explain what it is. Shall I do it again?
Yes.
The 15-minute cities are, it's like they will take a town, a large town, and they will break it up into sections where everything is what you need: your basics, your dentist, your doctor, your hairdresser, your grocery store, a little playground for the tinies. Everything will be within walking distance or riding a bicycle. Now then, if you want to drive your car, you will have to take that car to the council and ask permission to drive it out of the 15-minute city. Now then, you are allowed 100 hours a year out of the 15-minute city. If you go over that hour, it's £80 an hour you will have to pay because you've gone over your quota. Well, you know, that's 2 hours a week, isn't it? 52 weeks a year. It's less than 2 hours a week. So, and these 15-minute cities are really nothing more than surveillance camps, because Britain, especially Britain, is the most surveyed country in the entire world. But the 15-minute cities will be more so. They will know where you go, every single thing that you do, what you eat, what you buy, the whole shenanigans, and people will be encouraged to work from home and have everything, the food all delivered, you know, via, you know,
but didn't you say that there's a community or a couple of communities somewhere in Lincoln or wherever who have actually demonstrated against this?
Oh, yes.
They're not having it.
Yes, and they wanted that day. They went to the council and they said, we want to hold a meeting. And they said, all right. They issued them with a piece of land. And then at the last minute, they said, no, you can't have that land. So they said, okay, well, we'll go out into the country and we'll have a picnic and we'll have stalls and we will form our own little communities. So we will not be paying you any money to the council tax. We will not be paying that. That money we will keep for ourselves and we will spend it the way we think will benefit the town. And it seemed to work out very well. I haven't been there. I'd go, but I have been very ill. But it's something for me to investigate and look forward to, because I would very much like to go to that particular place and see for myself. Now then, the others have tried. I think maybe a couple might have won, but I have grave difficulty finding anything about the cities, Keith, on the internet now.
All right.
I really
you said that Oxford was the
Oxford was the first one, and they have won. They have chopped it up, you know, and you have to do as you're told there. They had people come down from London and they held their meetings, and the people against this were silenced and told to sit down. What do you know? And then they get in their expensive cars and drive back to London, and they won't even listen to. They've cooled it, but they are winning the day with these cities. And then they're cool it for a little while, and then we'll come back strong. That's the main thing, because when they bring in these next pandemics, we want to shut down much, much quicker. These cities will close down within less than 3 minutes.
Yeah.
Because they're built that way.
Are those people who, who I would say you would support, or your supporters, which way round, because you're aware of this, you've got time to actually do a counter campaign. Are you? And how's it going?
I don't know, because I'm a lone wolf. I know that there are people out there that all join together and, do back off, but they're not as successful as they should be. Let me put it that way.
Right.
Because they're not allowed to be successful. They always run into the stumbling blocks. And also, you get the uneducated people who say, well, I don't mind living in a 15-minute radius. Suits me not to go out. They don't take the whole thing into consideration. You're fighting ignorance there, because these 15-minute cities are nothing more than control, and they've got them now in Dubai. They've got them all over the world, all over Europe, and Britain I don't think will escape. So we've got that little business, but I spoke to my nephew sometime about this, and gorgeous, lovely man, beautiful family, but they don't listen to me very much. They think I'm horrendously depressing. And they live their lives very well. They don't deny life. They do not. I mean, when they go out and have a damn good time. I tell you, they don't let anybody dictate to them. And I mentioned the 15-minute cities to him, and he said, no, you're wrong. You're totally wrong. I said, well, the BBC advertised these cities. And so, no, they didn't. Well, I didn't see it. I said, well, look, I have been speaking on my shows for the last year, William, about these cities. I said, they do exist. Name one. Oh, Oxford. I said, come on, let's drive there. Let's and see what they're all about. No, I haven't got time. I got a call. I think it was 3 weeks later. He said, you've got to go and vote for Maria Caulfield. I said, whatever for? What has she ever done? And he said, well, they're trying to turn Ringmer, that's where he lives, into a 15-minute city, and she's going to bat for it. Well, she would, because the elections are coming up. Mm-hmm. You see, it's when it affects someone personally, that
you get action.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I said, that means you won't be able to drive out to see your children who live a few miles from Ringmer. You won't be able to do this. I'll do it anyway. I said, then you will go to prison. This is very serious. I've been trying to tell you, William. Been trying. But, as I say, they live there in the country. They have their horses, and they have lovely, lovely lives. And they don't want the earth either. They want to eat well, which they do. They live organically. They have their animals. They've got the pub down the road. A holiday now and again. William never takes a holiday. He will not go and leave his animals. He's a very special human being. But what's wrong with that life if they want to live it like that, huh? But to say that you can't drive up the road, 15 or miles or something to see your children.
When is Ringmer likely to be affected?
I think they've put it on hold. They'll do that for a little while until after the elections, and then they'll come full force again.
I see. What you're saying is the elections this is going to be unpopular. So the elections are a stumbling block for
yes, for a
proponents of
while,
it.
just for a while,
Yeah.
Keith. You know, then they'll
Yeah.
start all over again, especially if Starmer gets in, because he's very, very pro the WEF. He goes to all the meetings. He's one of the boys there, and he's into these cities very much
yeah.
so, very, very much so. And also, he'll put us right back into the common market again. Yeah, very dangerous man, very dangerous man. But I tend to think they're all alike. And I don't think there's going to be any saviors. The only savior is going to be you and I. You and I, and anybody out there who is talking. You want a savior? Look at yourself in the mirror, because you're the only person that's going to save you. And that is the only.
You mean both self-realization and self-conviction.
Yeah, you will just have to keep saying no.
But are people going to actually? I mean, you know, is listening to you and listening to us is difficult enough for people. Are they really going to go and get books to read? I mean, particularly
No, probably
in
not,
society where reading is becoming less and less.
Less and less.
Yeah.
It's not encouraged in schools. I mean, it's not. No, I don't think they are. But it's not going to prevent me from trying.
Right.
I mean, if I just reach out a few people, which I think I did during the pandemic with the information that I put out, I think I probably saved a lot of lives.
Well,
because one person tells another person, and then da 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 da. And right now, I don't know what else to do. If somebody's got any ideas, please let me know. Because I assure you, I say no.
Well, I mean, I think
I assure you, I say no.
Yeah, if realization is part of the battle, then at least you're attempting to do that, and that's quite important. Yeah.
To me, it is. I can't not do it, as I'm up till 3 o'clock in the morning studying all this, and I can't leave it alone, because I know my time is limited. All their times are limited. Of course they are. And we have to do our bit. I'm sorry, we cannot just sit back and take this.
Well,
and say,
Liza,
maybe the next government, they'll be better. No, they're not going to be any better. No one's going to be any better except yourselves. And turn around and say, no, I'm sorry, we're not having this. Get lost. And if enough people do it, darling.
Well, that's true. That's true. Yeah, I mean, the power of people is very real.
Oh God, is it ever? Is it ever? And we are so powerful if we want to be.
But while we can enjoy the pub without being told where we can go, where we can't, is we have to let Declan get his pub open.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. We'll say toodle pip. And another interesting and very factual morning. And you'll be back next week?
Of course. Thank you very much for watching.
Okay. Thank you, darling. And that's it for today. A bit of a stuttered performance from Mirador today. But nonetheless, we have started to segmentize our programs now, so you don't have to look at a whole bunch of rubbish if you don't want to. You can actually look at, for instance, this program and just this program, and not have other things attached to it. So at least that's a step in the right direction.
I think it's awfully good.
Okie dokie. Until tomorrow morning, when once again we'll have who knows what on Mirador. We never know what the hell's going to happen on Mirador. We'll say toodle pip.
Toodle pip.
Toodle pip.
Bye-bye.